that going. So then for any of you that are watching this afterwards, or if you have folks who want to watch this recorded session after, please let them know that this will be uploaded into the Natural Resources PRU, which is in the OEE SharePoint drive. So you would just go to the OEE SharePoint, go to the PRU area, and there you see all of them, and you can click on Natural Resources, and this recorded session, plus the notes from today, and possibly John's presentation will be all in there for you all to look at or share with folks who were unable to attend. You can also add yourself or other folks to the email list. So if you aren't seeing emails from this PRU list, you can add yourself in there. I am Beth Hayes. I am one of the co-chairs for this Natural Resources PRU, along with Linda Masters, who is not on this meeting at this time. And then we have other folks who are usually highly involved as well. With that in mind, I also wanted to let you all know that with the new structure of the PRUs, it is a 2-year term is how they're being ran. So I will finish up in this coming year at Forum. Linda has been on for 2 years already. So we are looking for other folks to be involved. So just if you're looking to be involved with a PRU, Natural Resources is a great fit, and you can always chat with us at a later point if you're interested in what does that entail with the new structure of the PRUs. So since there's not that many on, really quick, if we could just run through, just let us know your name, your title, and the county or region you serve. So we'll just popcorn around. So John, we'll start with you.
Hi, everybody. My name is John Burgle, and I'm the Horticulture and Natural Resources Extension Specialist in Douglas County. And I will pass it to Michaela, since she's next to me on my screen.
Excellent. Michaela Truslove. I am the Commercial Horticulture Specialist in Boulder County.
And we'll have Marvin go next.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I can't turn my camera on. It's malfunctioning. I am in Extension Agent Huerfano County in the Southern region.
Perfect. Jennifer?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer in Gilpin County, the Mountain Region, Director in Natural Resources, Horticulture, everything agent.
Perfect. Thank you. Derek?
Good morning. I'm Derek Lowsuiter. I'm the Mountain Region Agriculture and Food System Specialist with the Rural Initiative.
Thank you. Derek, you can pick somebody if you'd like.
Sure, I will pick Sydney then.
Hi all, this is Sydney Pryor with Jackson County Extension. I am the Extension Director. I think that's all I'm supposed to say. I don't know what else is needed in the intro.
It's just name, title, and region or county, since you're County Director.
Yep, Jackson County North Park area. So thank you.
Let's see, Misty.
Hi, I'm Misty Jenkins. I'm the 4-H Natural Resources Specialist for Elbert County.
Perfect, thank you. Terrell? Terrell, are you able to unmute? That's all right. We will keep going. Diana? Probably said your name wrong. I apologize.
Is that me?
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
I apologize.
That's okay.
Wrong.
It's Dina Baker. I am the county director for Arapahoe County.
Perfect. Okay. Is there any folks who that might have joined that we missed?
Yes, this is Alonso Aguirre, Dean at Warner College of Natural Resources. And I don't see anybody on my team, so I don't know if I have to be in this meeting.
You're welcome to stay, especially since you're kind of our intro into the college for sure. So you're welcome to stay. We're going to do a presentation on fact sheets and how do you go about updating them and going through that for the Natural Resources PRU. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. So you're welcome to stay, but we're also okay if you have other things to do.
Okay, and I'll stay for a little while. I'll listen and see how I contribute, because I don't know if I'm the one that should be most of help, because I could bring my dean, my associate deans for research and academic affairs. But yeah, let's give it a try.
Okay,
I don't know anybody from this list. I don't think I do.
that's okay. Perfect. Okay. Anyone
Thank you.
else that we might have missed with intros?
Yeah, my name is Cheyenne Brown, and I am with Park County, and I am the new 4-H agriculture and natural resource specialist.
Perfect. Thank you. And it looks like we have one more who just joined us. It's Katie Dunker, which probably most of you know, but we'll have her do a quick intro. Katie, we're just doing quick intros, so just name, location, and title, and you are our last person. So if you want to unmute, I know you just jumped on, but perfect timing.
Amazing timing. Hey, I'm juggling a sick kid at home, so I probably won't be on camera. Katie Dunker, Director for Extension Programs, and I'm located in Douglas County, but based, on the campus state team.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining today. So with all that done, we're just going to recap forum for those of you who were unable to attend. So we had a great PRU meeting up there at forum. We discussed kind of like the naturalist program. We talked about fact sheets, the new direction of this PRU specifically, and fact sheets came up quite a bit. And John kindly talked about how he's very familiar with the process of updating them, getting them redone, and then back out to the public. We all know that that list is a very long list. Linda has sent out an updated list of natural resources PRU fact sheets. And so it doesn't mean we have to do the whole list, but we are going to encourage everybody to pick like one or two that are relevant to you and your clients or your specialty area to get them updated if needed, just to make sure that we're still having relevant information out there for our clients across the state. So that's kind of the big key takeaways at forum. We also did, the PRUs were asked to kind of separate out into other functionality areas, one of them being emergency management. So we have had a few folks step into that realm as well for this PRU specifically. So we'll be chatting with them about that. As we all know that with natural resources, we think about fire mitigation, a lot of other things when it comes to emergency management from that standpoint, more of a preparedness and a recovery standpoint for the natural resources. So that's kind of how forum went. So with that, John, I will hand it over to you and I will make you a co-host and you can go ahead and chat to us about fact sheets and how do we go about fixing those that need fixing.
Great, thanks. And although that should seem like a really straightforward thing, it's actually complicated because we're in the middle of trying to figure out exactly how we're going to do those things. And so I am serving as the chair of the first ever, as far as I understand it, faculty ad hoc committee that has been assembled to determine and make recommendations about the process of creating and revising fact sheets. Those recommendations will go to the executive committee and ultimately up for approval to Dr. Pritchett to be then used by all of us after a vote of all of us faculty about the process. So we are in the midst of hopefully having a not completely new, but certainly refined and clarified process. And so what this means for us is actually really good news. It means that we have just a little bit of time as a PRU to carefully read our existing fact sheets and for you to decide if there are any that you think are crying out for revision or if they're pretty good, and sort of begin to sort those in your mind about which things do you really want to look at first. And really thoughtfully consider what things need to be reviewed, because the whole institution is going to be needing to review fact sheets in an ongoing way. We have to start somewhere. So let's select those that are used and that are really out of date, and there's new research to inform an update to that fact sheet, for example. If there is something urgent to be corrected or updated on a fact sheet, you do not need to wait until there's a new process that we've all voted for. The fact sheet process that you can find on the CSU Engage site in SharePoint, which I'm sure you all have bookmarked. If you don't, you can Google it and find it. This is currently functioning. So if you see something that is needing review, or you desperately need to get a fact sheet out there about some topic that's important in your community, you can follow the process that's here. It's pretty self-explanatory and thorough. Pick your topic, you write the fact sheet, or you review a fact sheet. This step 3 is what is going to likely see the biggest change in the new process. And that right now, your peer review is up to you to just find 2 other folks within the PRU or in the Warner College or even externally, subject matter experts to review your fact sheet. We are hoping to and planning to formalize a double-blind peer review for fact sheets for a couple of reasons. One, that's going to ensure highest possible quality for our CSU printed resources. And number 2, that is then going to help all of us on our reporting, because those will count as peer-reviewed publications. So when you're looking at Educate, Create, Connect, then reviewing or authoring fact sheets will be peer-reviewed publications and will help you with advancement in the institution. So that's probably the biggest change that we'll face once that new procedure is in place. But for now, again, do follow this procedure that you see for anything that is, again, crying out for revision or egregious that needs to be corrected. Otherwise, it's going to be after the first of the year that we are going to be instituting a new policy, again, pending a vote of the faculty on it. The committee will have its recommendations. We've been asked to have those recommendations by the 15th of December of this year, so that then they can be presented and voted and put into place early next year. And next week, we're going to start beta testing some software that the IT folks have found for us to help manage that double-blind peer-reviewed process. So we have identified a process that looks more or less like this that's on Engage already, with the exception of that peer review that I mentioned. And now we're trying to find tools that will make it very easy for us to do this, so that in the future we aren't wielding, and no one, Linda will be the last person ever to have to make a giant Excel spreadsheet of our fact sheets and when they were last updated. We sure hope. We haven't found that tool yet. We're working with IT to hopefully find a great option to do that sort of thing. So in the meantime, yes, please read the natural resources fact sheets, find some that you think need review or that you'd like to review, or maybe that don't need strong review and we just need to say, yep, this is still valid. And then we'll really get going probably with a new process in early 2024. And that's all I have to say about fact sheets. Does anyone have any questions? Or since Katie's also really familiar with what's going on, Katie, do you have anything to add to what I have said so far?
I think that's a great summary. I just wanted to clarify do we need to wait until January? Or is now a good time to get some of those fact sheets updated that just have minor or, insignificant, or just a simple, like, this is still accurate. This is still the most accurate information, and we can change that date quickly. Like, how about that process? Is there an easier way before it's final?
That's a great question. And I think that for minor changes, this process is in place and we can continue to use it, especially for things that just need to be said, oh, hey, yeah, this looks good. This is still accurate. That would be honestly a probably productive use of time, so that when we have a new procedure, they don't all have to be loaded in at once. We can kind of get ahead of the review cadence if we are able to get anything easy out of the way first. Yes, you can follow the existing process. If there are things that require peer review, in your opinion, then I would say wait until we can get the more robust peer review process in place. Or if there are things that require peer review and are in some way egregiously needing correction. Research is out of date. We have botanic names misspelled, whatever the situation might be. And I say, yes, go ahead and get those corrected too, because we want those resources to be usable as soon as possible. But for the bulk of these, if it's, yep, we need to review and update some, let's wait for the new process. Easy ones or egregious ones, we can use the existing process, which you can find on Engage.
And then what about if it's just a design issue, like the old logo, the old, format?
That's another great question. for right now, if you have time, the existing process puts it on the fact sheet author to make sure it's uploaded in the correct template. So if you're feeling expeditious and you're good at Canva and you want to put things into the correct format, you can do that. They then would need to be submitted to the marketing and communications team using the online form on Engage so that those could be updated and presented. We're hoping that the new procedure will have a more straightforward way, or that really that marketing and communications will take on the formatting, since they are tending to be experts in Canva more so than all of us. So if we wait, that will likely take longer, but it will be done by someone else. If you wanted to do it now and you're good in Canva, you certainly could do those things. Ultimately, in the future, every fact sheet will be reviewed at a minimum every 5 years. And that's not to say that the content's going to change every 5 years. We just want to make sure it's read through at least every 5 years, if not sooner, to make sure they're still accurate. And then at that point, any template changes would be instituted as well. So for now, we get any of that out of the way for something that's, again, oh, this is still good, it just needs to be in the new template. That's something that we don't need cluttering, as it were, the process right at the get-go. So there's things that can be done, but for major work and revision, I'd say wait. That minor stuff, if you have time and capacity, go for it. But I don't think we're obligated to do that either. Other questions?
John, for the new process, will there be a way to know, like if I choose I want to do an update of fact sheet, how do I know that someone else isn't also already working on that fact sheet?
That's a great question. Thank you. So right now it's actually envisioned. And in all of this that I am telling you is what is being proposed. It's not final. We will all have to vote on it ultimately as faculty. But what's being proposed is that PRUs will continue as we have to be keeping track of fact sheets, and that it will be either the PRU leaders or an editorial committee appointed within the PRU who are running that particular show. And so it would be, say you wanted to write a fact sheet or revise the fact sheet on mountain pine beetle, because hot topic and Gilpin County is covered in pine trees. Then you would talk to the natural resources PRU leaders to say, hey, this is needing review. There is a new pesticide out and I want to make sure it's included in the fact sheet. They would be able to know, oh yeah, Robin is actually also working on that. So why don't you join with her as a co-author, or hey, actually that's in final stages of publication and we should be fine. But it's really going to be the PRU leader team, or if needed, an editorial board who will be able to not only tell you if someone's already working on it, but if you propose it, say, yes, that's great, and let's find you support with co-authors if you need it. There'll also be the people who are helping to coordinate who will be doing the reviewing. Again, because it's double blind, or will be double blind, we hope. You won't know who is reviewing your fact sheet, and they won't know that you're the author. But somebody needs to know who these people are, and that's likely going to be, again, the PRU leads or an editorial committee. That's how it's being proposed. So again, none of this is final. You don't need to say, oh my gosh, this is what's happening, but that's what we're thinking, is that there will be one or a few points of contact within a PRU who will help talk through fact sheet design, content, and partnerships for authoring.
Perfect. Other questions? Okay. I don't know if y'all were able to see, but I did throw in the audited fact sheet list for natural resources in the chat. I will share that just in case it's not pulling up for you all. And so for those of you people online who are watching this afterwards. So this is kind of the list that Linda and also Susan Carter, before she retired, had kind of worked on. So you can see they kind of had gone through and done also like a design format, if it's old, if it's new, kind of like what John was talking about. So if you are looking for a couple easy things to do during this fall winter season, there are a few that they've already gone through and kind of said, oh yeah, this needs minor changes or updates. which is really nice and helpful. So I encourage you to look through this list and see if there's anything that like catches your eye or something is really useful that you use all the time in your county. That's maybe just a little bit outdated, that does need some attention, and then work through that process like John said. And in the notes, I'll make sure that it lines out that process, and I'll talk with our marketing team, see if there's a way we can maybe work out some of the links to where you can easily go from like this list to the step-by-steps that John pointed out on the OEE, since it's all living in the same place, to just make it a little more efficient for all of us to work through. So that's kind of what that looks like. So please feel free to download this file on your own computers or wherever you save things, so that way you have access to it at all times. I have access to it. I will also put this in the OEE SharePoint for our natural resources. So if you lose this file for some reason, you can look there. You can also email myself and Linda directly, and we can give you this file again if you need it. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at. So what we're asking is that all of you that are on the call today, if you can pick at least one, just one fact sheet that speaks to you or is really, really relevant to your community to update, because we know this is a long list. But we need to get it done, as John said. I mean, it's a lot of upheaval for that new committee, and we that's part of our responsibility as being part of a PRU and our commitment to our community. So if you can look through this list, if you all will give me your ones you're going to update by the end of January, and I'll send out some email reminders, that would be great, because that way if there are ones that you're gonna work on and they're the easy changes that John talked about, then you can work on them now. It's great. I'll put your name on it saying, oh, Jennifer's gonna work on managing, well, I'm just gonna put soil testing. And so I know that Jennifer Cook's working on it, and that way if Robin decides, oh, I really want to do that one as well, I can say, okay, well, you guys can work together, or Jennifer's already got it done and it's updated and you don't need to worry about that if you could pick another one. So we'll start running that, but please just be aware that the end of January will be the deadline for picking at least one. So that way we can show that we are working through these. And we're going to get them done, and just let myself or Linda know that this is the one I want to do. These are, and then kind of just let us know where you're at progress level would be helpful. Yeah, go ahead, Robin.
Yeah, I just was curious of, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I'm curious about the dates that are listed on there, whereas and I'm not looking at the list, you just had it up, but I was looking at like, August 13. Is the 13 the year that they were updated? Then there's the list that says old, and and most of them say old, and they're just old publications that have been updated.
Yeah, so looking at this list, and I didn't get to chat with Linda, but from the way I'm reading it, it looks like there's a published date and a revision date, which not all of them have a revision date. So it is kind of hard to say when some of these have been looked at. And then I think the old is just saying the design format is old, but not necessarily a date associated with that, from what I can see.
Yeah, it's month and year, August of 2013, and it's the old format. So that'd be one if you see, oh, I'm going to go through all of them that are old format and see if any of them don't need revision, and I'm just going to be a Canva wizard for a week and modify those. That would be productive.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense. And no, I'm not that Canva wizard.
Hey, Beth, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Marvin.
And maybe John, this is more for you, but so on the fact sheet list, it lists previous authors. If they're still with us, do we need to contact those folks?
I would say that ideally, yes. And that the proposed process suggests that if the original author is still with the organization, that be the person who reviews or does the revision, rather, for that publication. And so if you have authored some, I'd suggest strongly that those be the fact sheets that you go through and update. And if there are some, and oh, there was somebody, campus specialist or somebody else that's not at this meeting or in a different PRU normally, then I would say, yes, Marvin, contact that person and say, we're reviewing fact sheets and we would like you to update this one. Or would you be able to update this one? Or can I work with you to update this one? But we would like, if they're available, to have the original author involved in the update, at least in the proposed process going forward.
Okay, thanks. Second question, who is the Amanda that's listed as a student on a lot of them? Any ideas? or what that role was?
I do not know, but John, I don't know, has that name come across with the committee at all?
I have no idea who that could be.
So I'm not
Okay.
sure. Maybe Linda knows, but I'm not sure who Amanda is. So, but I know that OEE, their communications and marketing team, just got another intern that's working on some of this. So that might be who it is. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know her name. So it might be that individual, or it could not. But I know they do have a few folks that are interns that are working on trying to go through some of this stuff as well with the communications and marketing team specifically. So it could be that.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions regarding fact sheets or the timeline for that or anything like that? Okay, so I will send out email reminders and things like that to you all regarding the fact sheets, so don't worry, because I know we all get kind of muddled around this time of year with holidays and finishing up programming and kind of looking forward to the next year. So we will take care of that from the PRU standpoint. The other items on our short little agenda here was just kind of talking about where to find PRU information, our next meeting, and then if anyone has program updates that they want to share, that we will have time for that. So I have to jump into. I have our county SharePoint open, so I apologize. I have to jump into the OEE, but I did want to quickly show you all where our stuff is living. Or Katie, do you have an easy link? I know you had sent that out as well. Is it just under staff resources? Is that one? Is that where
Yep. So if you're at the Engage site and you go under staff resources and then under program planning and reporting, I believe, and then you kind of scroll over to PRUs.
Perfect. Okay. So if you all haven't had a moment to go into OEE SharePoint, I definitely encourage you to do that. I apologize, my computer is.
I can show it if you want, Beth.
Yeah, if you can, that would be perfect, John. Since you had it open before too.
So here I'm on the fact sheet creation process, which is also in staff resources. Staff resources, planning, programming, reporting. That will take us to extension PRUs. And here we are. Agendas, minutes, membership list. Here we are. So here's where we can find those things.
Yeah, and then so all you would do is click on the natural resources folder, and that's where everything's going to live from a document standpoint. So that's where like the minutes from this meeting will be, the future agendas, I'm pretty sure video files can be uploaded to there. So I'm going to try to dump this in there. If not, then we'll put out like the minutes with the video link in the minutes so that it's viewable. And then this audit list will also go in there with access to that as well. So so that's kind of how that will work. So just make sure you guys have access to it. You also will have noticed that there is like a contact list in there. So again, if you aren't receiving the emails for this PRU list, but you would like to receive them, or you have a colleague that's wanting to do on it, just let them know. You can add your own contact information to that contact list that's in the SharePoint instead of, you can always contact myself and Linda, but it's a little quicker that way because we'll just pull you directly from that list and send out information. So, so just so you know that's there now from a PRU standpoint. And I know some of the other PRUs are going to start using those folders a bit more as well. It's not just ours. So that's where we're at with that. And then so next meeting for 2024, we were looking at like a February time. Does that feel comfortable for you all? Do you want to go a little farther out? Do you want to meet in January right away? We can do that. I just want to kind of get a cohesive feel for what this PRU group would like to do moving forward for the first quarter.
Speaking only in terms of fact sheets, I think February, especially if we go the second half of February, I would hope that by then we would actually be able to run through the entire process and could demonstrate and answer questions about what would then hopefully be a newly approved fact sheet process, if that would be interesting to people. And I sure hope it would be. That should be the most interesting thing all February. We'll find out.
I think that would be great. And that way we could also show who is working on what fact sheets so that people are aware. And that way, like if you have one that you're like, oh, I really want to work on that with Misty, that's my jam. You know, then you could easily get in contact with whoever and get that done. So yeah, that would be, I think that's a great one. Does anyone have any opposement to the second part of January as a meeting for our PRU?
Oh, I said second half of February.
February, sorry, yes, February.
That sounds good. Because that'll probably be after CAD.
Yeah. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up, so we're gonna run with that. So I will, we will get a new date picked and send out information and things like that. And we'll send out some reminders because we all know how it goes that when you get things now for next year, sometimes you completely forget about them. So we'll send out reminders now and then you'll get them again next year, just letting you know to please plug in and get in with the PRU for this one. So
Hey, Beth.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, just really quick. I know that there was some discrepancy with the dates of CAD, which are at this point set for February 6th to the 8th, although that was the San Luis Valley Ag Days, I think, or something that's happening the same week. So they are maybe moving CAD. So just be aware that they don't have a set date for CAD yet.
Okay. Do you know, Robin, do you know like how far into February they might move it? Like
I don't, but I'm hoping that they're going to avoid, I mean, you know, President's Day is the 19th. I don't know exactly, but I'll reach out to Eric and see if they can just set a date. I mean, they know that this is a conflict. You know, February's around the corner, and we probably just need to get that date plugged in so that we can start planning our other meetings around that. So I'll let you know as soon as I know, but just be aware that they might be moving those CAD dates.
Okay. Sounds good. So we'll, and folks will probably stay on a Wednesday around this time at 11, just for consistency's sake. So just know that like that later part of February, one of those those last Wednesdays at 11, we'll just do a quick PRU 1 hour session. And we'll make sure that it doesn't conflict, hopefully. If you can't make it, we understand. We will always try to record them, get them posted as soon as we can. So if you can't make it, we understand. We'll get it up, and you can always check out the information when you can. So no worries on that. But thank you, Robin. I will stick in contact with you about those dates. Perfect. Okay. So again, as a friendly reminder, just for those of you that joined a little later, so with the new structure of the PRUs, it is suggested to do a 2-year term as the co-chair lead. So that is myself and Linda Masters. Linda has been on past 2 years at this point, so she is looking to step off. I will hit 2 years at this coming 2024 forum. There has been a few people who have approached me that have been interested in being co-chairs, but is there anyone else who would like to self-nominate and really wants to get involved as like a co-chair for this PRU that might not have known about that opportunity? Don't everybody speak at once. I know everyone's just jumping to be a PRU lead. It's great. It's not too bad, guys. It's really not. I know we all have a lot of responsibilities, but with the new structure that's been worked out, it's actually a lot easier. And I know they're continuing to refine that and make that where it's not so much of a heavy burden on the PRU co-chairs. So it's much like running any other meeting that we all do all the time. It's getting an easier load. So don't let the responsibility scare you away because it is doable. So if you're interested, just send me an email, let me know. We can chat and we'll be looking into that next year. Just trying to make sure we have someone in the works that maybe could shadow a little bit and kind of get a feel for what we do with this PRU. So just putting out some feelers for that. The other couple things that I wanted to let you all know is that after disaster toolkit guide that you all are probably familiar with or have seen a couple times. It was big in the Boulder fire and the Mesa County one. So it was kind of worked out originally with Susan Carter, then a bunch of other folks got involved and it blossomed from there. And now it's been developed for a lot of other communities and counties. So with that in mind, with Susan's retirement, I was asked to go to the Extension Disaster Education Network conference that happened in Georgia this year. We went on behalf of CSU with Reagan Adams and spoke about that toolkit at the conference, and it was extremely well received by everyone there. From Texas A&M, Georgia was there, Nebraska, Wyoming, Montana, lots of the other states were there on behalf of Extension, and they wanted access to our After Disaster Toolkit Guide, which is awesome from a lot of different perspectives. So working with our OEE team in communications and marketing, we're actually going through and we're going to make it public on the Eden website, which is a nationwide access tool for Extension folks, and putting that disaster guide on the Eden website by the end of this year. So CSU has made its mark, if you will, in that realm, which is super exciting. So we are working on that. Myself and Robin Young are kind of spearheading that. Robin just got back from her travels, so she's also getting this information at the same time you all are. But it's an exciting time, and we're excited about where that's going from that standpoint. So if you all want to get involved in emergency management from a natural resources standpoint, feel free to reach out to some of us, as we are doing some exciting things in that realm. And Reagan Adams desperately wanted to pass along that information to you all as well, because she was unable to attend this meeting. So that was kind of the big items. Does anyone have any cool program shares they did or are doing that they would love to share that's in this realm of natural resources?
Yeah, I have one thing. So right now I'm drafting a internship proposal for a emergency management at Yuma County. So there is a office for emergency management at Yuma County, and they contacted me and to see if they can have an intern in the summer of 2024. So currently I'm contacting with Reagan Adams, and if she can be our campus-based mentor, and then we can collaborate together to mentor that intern. So this is one thing I'd like to share.
That is super awesome. That's really, really cool. We'll definitely be keeping tabs, and maybe you'll have new updates for us at our next PRU meeting. So we'll definitely, I'll make sure you have time to talk at our February one. So I will make that to see how that's going. Anyone else doing other exciting things? I know you all do a lot of stuff, so don't be bashful. Let's hear all the good work y'all are doing.
Okay, well, I'll go. I just got back from Rifle, where we met with the Holy Cross Cattlemen's Association, and we talked about wolf issues and talked about the wolf reintroduction. And it was a really well-attended meeting with well over 150 people in attendance. The big thing that happened today, if you haven't heard, is that the 10J rule is now under federal rule, and it will be permanent on December 8th. So right now, that leaves the door open for any lawsuits that will take place. And if you're not familiar, the 10J rule allows for lethal take. And so the update on the reintroduction is the fact that, pardon me, that the, hold on a second. Oliver. That the 10G rule is going into place, but the update on the wolf reintroduction is that we have now negotiated with the state of Oregon to gather up to 10 wolves. We won't know the number until the contracts are filled and the wolves are actually trapped and transported into Colorado. They are looking in the Grand Summit and Grand and Summit counties to do the release. They will not state where the releases are, and they will have more of the locations that will not be disclosed. And so they're going to be having more meetings with more cattlemen's associations across the Western region. The USDA is getting involved. We do have representatives, Joe Stanko, who is a rancher up in Routt County, and she is now appointed as a CDA contact. So if you have producers in your area that are on the Western region that are wondering about this, have them call the representatives. George, oh golly, Marvin, help me out. George and Julie, I can't think of their last name. They are also the other CDA representatives, and they're out of the San Luis Valley. And so again, you know, they're there to have the conversations. Do you know their last name?
Starts with the W. George.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I was
anyway,
just
those
thinking about him
representatives.
the other day.
Yeah, and we just had an extension training, and the training was basically for our Western Region Extension agents to understand where the relationships stand with CPW, getting the relationships built with those people, and helping bridge the gaps between the livestock producers and the and CPW and other agencies that are involved. So there's lots of things, lots of moving parts around the reintroduction that are still happening. The actual reintroduction with wolves on the ground in Colorado soil probably will be in the March timeframe. So if somebody asks you why they're not being reintroduced by the deadline that the vote said that it was going to happen, is the fact that we have to locate these animals. They have to be trapped. They have to go through vet checks, and then they have to be transported into Colorado to do that hard release. And what that will look like, again, without disclosure of where they're going to do the release, is just in those areas up there. And it's easier to track the wolves. You know, they have to be collared and all that, and they have to track the wolves. And it's mostly during the winter months because of the snow. It's just easier to, thank you, Marvin, that's the name, Witten. So those are your CDA representatives. But so if somebody asks you about the reintroduction and where the wolves would be, you can let them know the general location, but then you can also let them know that it's more than likely going to be Marchish timeframe that they're going to be released. And that's what I've got. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Perfect. Thank you, Robin. I know you and quite a few other folks have taken the lead in dealing with that in the realm of extension, and we truly appreciate that. In that same realm, I've heard a lot of rumors, and I'm sure some of you that are also close to me and region-wise may have heard the same thing. Is anyone else hearing the talk about the 2 grizzlies that are down in the San Juan Mountains, down in the San Luis Valley? That there are rumors that there is a mated pair of grizzlies that have crossed over from somewhere and are making some noise down there. So is anyone else hearing things that is down here in the southern region, out of curiosity?
Beth, the only thing that I can tell you is that being in the San Juans and hearing and working with our local CPW officers is that it is not confirmed. That's what I can tell you on the agency side of things. Now, on the other side of things, I can tell you that there have been sightings, again, not confirmed sightings. You know, this is a big deal because grizzlies are coming next. This will be next put on the ballot, most likely, along with the wolverines. And so, you know, we really need to be paying attention to what, not only the predators that are coming on our landscape, but the moose that are coming in. And so, you know, these moose are wonderful. They're you know, a game that can be hunted. And, you know, they also cause issues with livestock producers, tourists, you know, recreationalists that are up into the mountains. And
we lost you, Robin. I don't know if you can still hear us, but we've lost your audio. She may come back on, but I did not hear about the moose, so that's interesting. Does anyone else have other interesting wildlife while we're on this topic? And because wildlife are in natural resources, so is anyone else? Are you guys hearing client concerns or other interesting commentary from your communities about wildlife that maybe we should be paying a little more attention to?
The one thing, if you guys have looked at can't remember what paper, but they're putting trying to put together a list for signatures for what is it, mountain lion and bobcat and lynx and it's kind of the same process that they did with the wolves. It has to have the petition signed and then to be put on the ballot to vote to take the hunting away from mountain lions, bobcats, and lynx. So that keep that on your radar if anybody's asking about it.
Thank you, Terrell. That's helpful. I know that impacts a lot of our communities. I can tell you
And
all.
that was in the fence post. I just remembered there was a couple or an article about it in the fence post here the last couple weeks.
Okay, perfect. I have put that in the notes if people want to look for that information, because I know in Pueblo County we have had an uptick in mountain lions, both in a population density and in a populated area with people occurrences, more than we normally see, and they're young mountain lions, so they're getting pushed out of some of our mountain regions, and they're coming east, and they are coming into very populated areas with people. So it's a very interesting time from that perspective. So it's good. Anyone else have other wildlife items to throw out there?
I think Robin just re-arrived.
She did. Robin, it's okay. We can see you and you're muted, but we should be able to hear you. So the last part we heard was you talking about a little bit about the moose, and then it cut out on us.
Okay, so just saying that the moose are big game, and they're becoming more prolific within our areas, and so and for us, when we have all different kinds of people coming in and asking questions, just make sure that you're talking with your local Division of Wildlife manager and understanding what they're saying, because it's a matter of consistent messaging. We want to know that that if we've got these grizzlies in our area and we're hearing these rumors, what is CPW saying to their clientele so that we can be consistent with them? And if we're able to have that consistent messaging, it helps the relationships. And I've got people coming in saying, well, we've got the Lobo wolf coming in, which is the Mexican wolf that comes in from New Mexico. And there's been multiple sightings throughout the years, but our DWMs don't confirm that. And so there's the discrepancy about that. And so just knowing that we say, there's a form to fill out when you have a sighting of grizzlies, wolves, other wildlife that normally aren't in the area, even the moose. There's a form that you can go to on the CPW website. And I highly recommend that you guys have that, either print out the form or have that link to the form to give the clients, and to let them know that if they have a sighting, this is where you go to let your Division of Wildlife know that they're in your area. And that way it gives them more information. So Beth, if you're hearing rumors that grizzlies are in our area over there in Pueblo, there's probably some merit to that. And that brings it to light for CPW to say, yeah, we should be paying attention to this. So again, we're just helping that process.
Yeah, that's super helpful. And folks, I will make sure to find the website link to the page that Robin's referencing. I'll put it in the notes, so that way, if you have clients like I do that are coming to you with these concerns, or these are things you're hearing in other community meetings, that you have a easy reference point to CPW. So thank you. That is very. Does anyone else have other items?
Yeah, I guess I have one for people who might be interested. So I do a fair amount of work with biochar produced from forest biomass primarily, and then occasionally from agricultural biomass as well. And there's a startup from California that opened a facility in Fort Lupton, Colorado, last year, and they're bringing it online. There's a couple dozen people working at the facility currently, and working with DNR and Charm Industrial, which is that company that produces biochar. They're hosting an open house for Governor Polis tomorrow at their facility in Fort Lupton. So there's going to be an open house, so kind of a tour of the facility, demonstration of some of their technology. And then after that, a meeting with the company and CSU and Colorado State Forest Service representatives and staff. So if anyone is interested in attending the open house, I know it's kind of short notice, just tomorrow, but that'll be happening at Charm Industrial in Fort Lupton tomorrow at 11:15 is the open house. And then we'll plan on having the meeting around 1 o'clock, depending upon when the open house wraps up. But their technology is unique in that the biochar is a byproduct. So in a lot of cases, there's biochar businesses already operating in Colorado, but the biochar is the main product that they're marketing. But in this case, they do sell the biochar to the surrounding agricultural community as a soil amendment, as well as industrial, applications. So for like concrete, asphalt, steel production, they're involved in a lot of industrial contacts as well, but their main focus is on the condensate. So as they're producing the biochar, the gases that come off of it, they condense that, and that produces what is chemically similar to crude oil. So that oil, in the past, there's been, talk of refining it into biofuels and things like that. As long as gas is relatively cheap, natural gas is much cheaper relatively. It's not going to go anywhere, but what they're doing is they're selling the quantifiable carbon content in that oil, and they're pumping it underground. So it's more or less reverse oil drilling. So they have either existing wells that have been decommissioned or have decreased in production, and then they measure the amount of carbon in this oil that's being produced, and then they pump that underground and sell the carbon credits. So it's a very unique take on biomass utilization. So liability biomass from forest thinnings or agricultural biomass that for whatever reason the producer doesn't want to leave it on their fields, they can harvest that and then pyrolyze it to produce the biochar, which is then reapplied, and then sell the carbon credits from the bio oil. So they're moving very, very quickly in this space. I've never seen a company move this quickly. So it's kind of exciting. So welcome anyone who would want to be part of that conversation to come to Fort Lupton tomorrow. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Derek. We appreciate it. And again, I'll make sure that's in the notes, and that way, if anyone watching the recorded session wants to get in contact, I will put Derek's email in the notes. And that way you can click an email and get in touch with him regarding biochar. The only other last thing I had, unless someone else has anything, is the Colorado Heritage Program had reached out to me, and they are interested in doing wetland mapping. They put a grant in with the EPA that gets hopefully approved next month, and they're going to do some updated wetland mapping and other wildlife studies and things like that, kind of from Pueblo to Fort Collins. So it's all up and down the I-25 Front Range corridor. A lot of places have not been updated or have never been mapped, so it's a huge undertaking, and we're really hoping that they get the grant. A lot of us here in Pueblo and in El Paso County, which is Colorado Springs area, are very interested in this and are hoping to take on that project. So hopefully we'll have an update for that perspective in 2024 as well when we meet. But if you all are interested or you sit along that I-25 corridor and you're curious if there is work that could be done in that area for where you are, please reach out. I'm happy to connect you with the person who reached out to me. It sounds like she has a lot of good information, a lot of plans for how they're going to conduct that study if they get the grant, and we'll be excited to see where that goes. So does anyone else have any last items or programs they want to share?
Yeah, Beth, I just thought of one. I'm on the board of advisors for the Colorado Weed Management Association, and they're having their winter training in Pueblo, December 5th and 6th. So I've been going to these meetings for a number of years, and they're always very, very interesting. I always learn a lot. So even if you're not a certified applicator, you can still attend and learn a lot. So I'd like to encourage anyone who does any weed management in their job to consider going. And I'm happy to send out the link to registration. Actually, maybe I'll put it in the link here in the chat. Thanks.
Yeah, that would be perfect. And I know the flyer's gone around a few times, but I'll see if I can add that to our, it's coming out quick, but I'll try to throw it in the PRU thing as well, just so folks have another spot to look at it, and hopefully get more attendance. Yes, we're very excited it's happening here in Pueblo, so we'll be excited that it's happening down here in our area.
Hey, Beth.
Mhm.
I also just want to mention that let's see, right after that happens on, I think it's Friday the 8th, is also Joan's retirement party. And I think that Terry's going to be sending out some more information about that. But if you've ever worked with Joan, even if you're not in her region, she's a fabulous lady, and she's been such a resource for us in Extension. So I wish that you'd all just, bid her farewell.
Yes, Joan is our regional administrative support person for down here. So if you all have ever interacted with her, feel free to stop by. It's kind of an open deal. It's like most of the afternoon. I can't remember the hours exactly, but if you are wanting to do that, you can always reach out to me. They sent out a little invite. It's at the regional office here in Pueblo, I believe. So if you want to come and stop by and you haven't seen the information, Christy said it begins at 3. We can give you the information if you want to stop by and say farewell to Joan. So, and Jennifer's put the information for the weed management training in the chat. So save that if you want to go. I'll also put it in the notes, but I encourage you to save it now, just since you have access to it. And that'll be it. So we're a few minutes shy of noon, but that's never a bad thing. Unless anyone has anything else they desperately want to add, we will conclude this meeting. And like I said, everything will get uploaded to the SharePoint. You'll get some emails from me regarding next steps with this PRU, the save the date for the February meeting, and see you all in February, and happy holidays, since I probably
do want to add something.
Sure.
So I just wanted to piggyback on what Jennifer Cook was saying about pesticide applicators. So this may be something that a lot of people aren't aware of, but I've been working with Lisa Blecker on campus, who's our pesticide safety educator, 100% extension appointment in ag bio. And she's hired some employees to help create an online pesticide application and safety basics course. The intention of this course is that it will be like a test prep course to support Colorado applicators that are required to pass applicator tests for licensure. It's going to be online, asynchronous, somewhat basic, but what I'm hearing is that it's really robust. So I think it's a lot of information to put out there. And, this was based on data where pesticide applicators who are registered in Colorado and they must pass these tests for licensure, about 50% of testers fail the first time. And so we felt like there was a need for some basic safety education test prep work, but we have to be very careful about how that's done so that we're not giving away answers for the test. So Lisa's been really involved in this. I think she's created a great course offering, and that should be available in January. So I just wanted to make sure you all had a heads up. This is something you'll be able to promote in your county, regions, et cetera, the applicators. The other note about course development, program development would be on Naturalist. I'm hoping we'll have more to share, and we'll be in touch over email with those of you who have raised your hand to say, I want to help build this thing. We are starting to pick up a lot of momentum. The Dean of Warner College of Natural Resources, we recently approached him and just said, hey, we're doing this. We wanted to make sure you knew about this. And he immediately, within like 30 minutes, responded, CC'd his entire leadership team and was like, we want to be involved in this. This is awesome. And all of a sudden we're getting a lot more interest in supporting the Naturalist program from campus. That said, we feel like extension is where it's at in terms of the field perspective and the solution-based kind of naturalist approach. And so, so we will be reaching out to several of you who have said, hey, I want to help build this. So thank you in advance. And I just wanted to give a quick update that is still chugging along. And Carrie Rollins and I have met a couple times now with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. We have put together a pretty solid proposal for funding as well. So this program may end up having some kind of co-brand with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. And the more we talk about it, the more excited I am about that as well. So just some quick, but I think helpful updates.
Well, that's super exciting. Thanks so much, Katie. I put all that in the notes and I'll try to find, I'll put contact info as well where it's relevant. So perfect. Well, thank you all again. Thanks for joining today. We're going to end today. And again, just watch your emails. You'll get everything and just look in the SharePoint and contact myself or Linda for additional information or questions regarding this PRU. Thanks all for joining today. And Robin, if you can stay on, nope, she's gone. Never mind. Have a good day, all.